So I've sharpened the tool, just used, let me show you, just used a diamond hone, put it on the heel, rest on the bevel, the cutting edge, just rock it slightly till you feel it's level, and then a small circular motion. I just dip it in water, and that will put a new edge on for me to start refining the surface. Now again, looking at it, there's a little high point there. This is critical, absolutely critical to look at the curve. And again, those wormholes are there. They go about 1/8 of an inch deep, and there, that's little split I'm not bothered about. There's some gorgeous grain around where that knot is. That's the bit of wood that picked out. There's a little hole there. Again, not bothered, part of it. That's split. I put super glue in before I even started turning it. That should hold. I'm going to turn this, it's going to taper down from maybe 1/4 of an inch at the rim, maybe 5/16 down to about 3/8 at the bottom. Give it that stability, okay? And just as a matter of interest, the Calabash bowl originated from Hawaii. And it didn't have a foot on it because they lived in the sand. They didn't use tables, and therefore didn't need foot things on things. So that's where it originates from. Gorgeous shape, probably my favourite shape of any bowl. Gorgeous bowl to look at aesthetically and ergonomically to feel. So let's get this start to refine this shape. We're going to start now. I've got the basic shape. I'm refining it. It still needs some work from here. Wow, the difference in the way the tool is performing since sharpening it with a diamond, unbelievable. Doing a nice shearing cut. I'm happy with that. No, I'm not. Needs a touch more. Look very, very, very carefully. Move the tool rest. You want to be using the same part of the tool. You can see I'm taking a slightly deeper cut. I want to try and get rid of that wormhole, or if there's a trace I don't mind, but they were just too deep for me. Again, from there to there, if I look very carefully, from there to there, there's a bump. I'm going to go back and refine this now. That's right where the knot is, so I'm cutting very carefully. Small, careful cut. I don't want to pull it out. Right, I'm going to move the tool rest around to there. I'm going to cut this high point off here and blend that curve into around here. It won't turn over too much, but it'll be enough, and I'm hoping to get rid of most of those wormholes. Looking at the profile all the time. Pick that cut up again. I'm not trying to take too much. Move the tool rest here, tighten that up. Blend that nicely into there. Now again, I can see a high spot. I'm going to go onto the wing, take a little shear and cut. Blend that in. It may be that the knot is flexing slightly. Let me just make a cut back here. I'm working on that section there. I can still see a slight high spot. There we go. I've got rid of that. Around there. Still a little high here, that section. What I'm going to do is quickly put an edge on the tool, one side. It's super fine on one side and medium on the other. I'm using the super fine side. difference immense. Little high spot right there. Use that off. That's looking okay. Again, high spot here. I'm going to turn the tool over. Use the bottom wing this way. I'm going to push the tool downhill. Dropping the handle slightly and taking a shearing cut this way. Using the bottom wing. The flute is at 3 o'clock this time. Just ease that backwards and forwards. Move a little bit more down here. Again, you may see I'm just moving my body, not my arms. The tool's locked in 3 places, and that is not far off. If there were any very, very minor high spots, don't worry, they would stand out. That's why we have sandpaper. Very, very few, in fact, very few people just finish from the tool. Most of us sand to a finish. So don't worry, you can refine it slightly. I wouldn't use it as a replacement for good tooling, because you can't sand as accurately as you can cut, but that's what we have it for. So, blend that in around there. Again, third. Get this just a little something around here. Let me move that to there. That's got it. Wow. A hair. That's got it. It's amazing. Look very, very carefully at these curves. As I said earlier, in my book, it's the hardest thing to do in wood turning. Get an aesthetically pleasing curve without any flats on. Very, very, very difficult. One more. I'm happy with that. Third. Comes around nicely. It's kind of doing that, so that means I've got room to take the foot away. Tell you what though, I'm just going to make one more slight adjustment. What I did there is put just a slight curve that way. That ensures that I've got enough room to get the curve at the bottom when we remove the foot. That's got it. No, it hasn't. One more. Okay, so let's have a look. I was keep sharpening the tool. Very little bit of tear out there, or should I say, it's not even tear out. It's disturbed grain. The figure around there is beautiful. Nice clean cut. That's okay. That's okay around there. A trace of the wormhole, I'm not concerned about that. It's part of the piece. When I seal this, I've got a choice. I can either pick the dust out of there, or seal it in and have it as part of the piece. I'll probably seal it first, see what it looks like. If it looks okay, I shall leave it. If it doesn't, I'll pick it out. Okay, so I'd rather do it that way than pick it out first. It might look okay. So, I'm going to raise the grain before I start sanding. This is water. Water takes longer to dry. Alcohol, sometimes I'll use alcohol. Some of you may have seen that. In demos it's showboating a little bit, but I would use alcohol on the finer grits. Okay, let's spray this up. I'll tell you what. Spray from there and start to see the figure. Look at the grain around there. That knot, absolutely gorgeous. Around here. Beautiful. I'm just going to let that dry. The grain will raise. Well, I'm going to sand it up, seal it. I'm not going to do anything else to the piece. Sorry, seal it, then oil it. And that grain is just going to pop. And you know what? Actually that wormhole isn't as bad as I thought. It kind of blends in nicely. You can hardly see it. I'm going to leave it if I can. it won't then interrupt the way the piece feels. Well, there's birds in there anyway, so hey, that looks fine. Excellent. Going to switch it on, let it dry, sand it up, come back to the finishing part, and then we'll start to hollow it out. Okay? See you in a minute. Okay, so I've sanded up down to 800 grit. The abrasives that I like to use are from a guy called Steve Wooster in Texas, turningwood.com. He's got Merca abrasives, good quality abrasive, and everyone has a number stamped on the back, and they're very reasonably priced as well. So there we go. You can find them online, no problem. This is Zins's, now I'll be honest with you, I normally use Zins's seal coat. This is clear. It's not clear, it has a filler in it, but for a darker wood it really doesn't matter. For lighter woods, maples, whatever, I would use the seal coat, and it's totally wax free, oil free, denatured alcohol thins this down. It's been thinned down 50-50. I want the capillary action to some of you guys, to draw into the surface of the wood. I want this to draw in, so it's mixed thin. I'd rather put several thin coats on and build up to a finish than put a thick one on and having to cut it all back. So I'm being quite liberal with this. It's sort of straight into the grain. Wow, look at the figure in that. Absolutely gorgeous. So the other thing is, it tends to get down if there's any dust washed down into areas which are difficult to get with the thicker stuff. This stuff, because it's so thin, flushes right down into the cracks. What you don't want to see is ugly dust marks or dust down in the grain. It looks unfinished. There's a bit there. See, squeeze it in. Maybe change angle. Around there, come back around to here. You can see I'm putting it on in a circular motion, getting it right down into the pores of the wood. I never do this stationary. Always do it. Sorry, I never do it with the wood running. Always stationary. This grain's just absolutely gorgeous, distracting me. So I'll give it another coat. Right around to that edge. Try and level it out. You don't want high and low parts. I'm just going to not do any harm. Stiffen up the fibres, put it around the foot. And that is absolutely stunning. I'm going to turn the speed down. It's down. Just spin that. Okay, you might find a little bit of excess comes out of any of the pores or holes. So if it does, just wipe off the excess. If they're dry, they'll dry hard and high. You've got coming back. It's 112 here today, so it doesn't take that long to dry. Excellent. Now, what I've got here, it's a Scotch-Brite type of. I don't want to use steel wool on this. I want to cut that surface back with this fine abrasive, and it's plastic. And then we're going to give it a coat of oil, and the oil will really make the grain pop. I'm going to give it a coat of teak oil. Teak oil dries quicker than the Danish oil, and it just seems to me to have a little bit more body to it. Just cut that back. Just going to use a little bit of paper towel. Burnish that slightly. That'll do. And now I'm going to apply the oil with this fine abrasive. I get it from Lowe's. You can get it from loads of places. I cut it up into smaller pieces that'll last longer. And once this has been used in the oil, it's not that useful anymore. So I'll start here again in a circular fashion. You're going to see that that grain just pop. There we go. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. My favourite woods to turn. of maple, figured maple and walnut. Loads of character, beautiful. A little bit broken off there, just pick that out. There we go. That's been so well sanded and sealed, the oil is hardly penetrating in anywhere, even on the end grain, which is great. If it penetrates on the end grain, you know, you're going to have to keep oiling it, and this hasn't there. It's still shiny. Normally it would suck in. Right, I'm just going to leave that for a few minutes to dry, buff it up, then we're going to turn it around, hold it in the tenon and start to hollow it out. That is a fabulous, fabulous piece of wood. Fabulous. Okay, see you later.